Orc?
Orc.
Orc.
Cool, okay. Welcome back to Talk About Nerds, your tavern for all things geeky. My name is Sindre, and with me I have my magically gifted friend Åvar.
Hello.
And my Icelandic counterpart, Krissi.
Hello.
Episode 16 of Talk About Nerds is a product of Nords and Nerds, a media group where we play Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and make Talk About Nerds the podcast. You can find everything we do on YouTube and Spotify at Nords and Nerds. Today's episode is sponsored by Victory Point, your local hobby store in Bryne, Norway. Victory Point has a large gaming area where the communities and in-store play are the number one priority. If you're looking for a new Warhammer army, or if you're interested in buying the games we're talking about, check out victorypoint.no. Currently only ships to addresses in Norway.
Victory Point, the starting point of your victories.
Okay, boys, we're back.
Yes, finally.
This time we're going to address the three elephants in the room.
Hey, I find that insulting.
You're just one.
I am an elephant. You're two bears.
Cool. No, last time we talked about how we're all dungeon masters, and this episode's going to be all about that.
Well, TTRPGs, tabletop role-playing games, GMing, playing, I think,
Game
will be...
masters.
Yeah.
But before we head into that, Åvar, have you been doing anything interesting for the last, say, month?
Anything new, you mean?
Anything new, geeky, nerdy, cool?
I did watch the D&D movie,
Ooh,
which was actually recommendable. It's good. I like it. It's good.
I ended up going to it twice.
Oh, nice.
Cool. I almost did as well.
Yeah. It's
So it's,
highly recommendable. It's
yeah,
very, very entertaining.
at least it does it justice.
Yeah.
Does the game justice.
It's not a Hollywood cash grab
No.
to just get in on D&D.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like it's an accurate representation of what we do? Our world?
More or less.
Fairly accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of tavern drinking and strange shenanigans
Mm.
and then failures.
And
So-
wild magic.
Yes.
So for anyone listening, we're probably going to be discussing a few spoilers about that movie coming up now. So,
Intentionally or accidentally.
yeah,
Difficult
but
to
we'll try to contain it to the next few minutes, and we'll probably put a time jump in the description if you want to skip the bulk of our...
Spoilery
spoilers.
speakings.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, anything in particular you guys found awesome, interesting, cool about the movie?
Well, they're good use of magic and representing like the characters in general, like the player characters, and as I said, like player shenanigans. Just the first part of the movie, where the Are we gonna spoil already?
Yeah. Just
I think we can try to be vague,
Yes,
but there will be spoilers.
yeah.
So-
They're like the whole opening sequence with the planning and getting out.
Heist planning.
Yes,
Mhm.
was very much like there was an easier way, but they went the whole distance. Their
I think
overly complicated plan, maybe.
when I'm a player, my plans are always far too complicated.
Yes.
When I'm GMing, I can listen into the players making the plans. It's like, you dumbasses.
Mhm.
That's not going to work.
It's always like, why didn't you just try the door?
Yeah. I have done that one, actually, the classical GM, like, you walk into a room, there's one door. What do you do? I unlock the door. It's like, doesn't work.
I did one.
And then eventually I push open the door's unlocked. You go ahead.
If there's a room with one thing in it,
Mhm.
it scares the shit out of players.
Oh,
Like
always.
there is something there.
Except if they are new players. New players have no fear.
True.
It's like, you meet a mimic. It's like, okay, cool. That was a cool creature. I opened the door. It's like, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Yep. You regret that.
I did one in a one-off, which was an empty room with just a plaque and a door. And the plaque said, "Don't overthink things."
That is a challenge.
Yep.
To my characters, at least.
Very hard.
That was it about the room? There was just...
Yep, nothing else. It's just an empty room. You just have to walk through it. And I think the more people you put into that room, the worse it gets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most
Then
definitely.
So, like, bouncing ideas back and forth, and
But
it goes off the rail.
if you're lucky, you have one player that is either experienced enough or just stupid enough by themselves to either play a barbarian or something that has low int and would just trundle through it. Or the player itself is like, it's probably fine, and then just go.
Meh.
Yeah, meh. Which can be awesomely funny if you have players that are just like, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, I had actually something happen on my last session. Short explanation, they got a plane. One person was lost and his mount. They did the Batman airlift thing. You know what I mean? When you take a line with a balloon and lift it up and the plane catches the line.
Oh, yeah.
But they had no plan to actually get him up to the plane. The player in question proceeded to cut his own line when they were going in for landing. Meaning he fell towards the ground at like 150 kilometers an hour. I was very kind that day and he didn't die. More stuff happened,
Almost.
but me.
Yeah.
So not particularly well thought through.
Yeah.
But that's what's funny, when they don't plan everything.
It is.
And you see that in the D&D movie as well. They do plan a lot, but they don't plan for
Everything.
what happens.
You can never plan for everything.
Yeah.
What if
and
the
that's-
painting falls over?
Yes.
What did you guys
that's-
think about the attunement system?
That was a lot more than. I mean, I haven't handled that many magic items, but it's a nice idea to like make it something.
I feel for semi-intelligent items, that would be a very good representation of, like, you have to force your will upon the item, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And that would
Or
be a
the-
visual representation of that process in the movie. I think that would fit very well. Normal attunement,
Yeah, I mean, common magic items like +1 swords or something like that. Yeah. But if they're like have some sort of intelligence, like negotiating with it or anything.
Anything like mythical or
Oh yes.
very powerful.
or for if you have to do a will save, a wisdom save.
But I would like to incorporate more of sort of like skill challenges to generally attunement of higher level items. Like
I actually, when you mention it, I need to do the same. Actually,
just like not just a 5-minute rest, but actually do something about it. That would be cool. And then the same to sort of get rid of the item after, depending on the item, of course.
yeah. If it's an intelligent item, I agree. I actually have a cursed item in my campaign that player will not be getting rid of that item.
Not easily.
No, it will have to be taken from her. So it's gonna be fine. I promise. It'll be fine.
I do like items that are like, they give you a huge benefit, but there is also a downside. Like you get 23 strength, but your intelligence falls or something like that. Or your constitution suffers or anything.
Oh, that would be a very nice belt of giant strength. Just cursed with your intelligence drops to 6 or something. I'm big and strong now.
You don't even realize that makes you stupider because you're less intelligent.
Yeah. Or it happens progressively.
Yeah. Ooh.
But D&D movie, I think the favorite part for me is probably, all the references are cool to things and like Displays of Beast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the inventive use of abilities and items.
Yes.
I love that.
That is like one of the things that the representation of the player characters again comes through so brilliantly. and just the random happenings that, like with one of the final heists later in the movie, where, as you said, the painting falls and all of those shenanigans. I mean, things go wrong, and they
do figure it out.
Yeah, often they go horribly wrong, but
in my own, at least in later years now, I take a little bit from Roll20, which is if you can explain it to me why it should work in the cool way you want it to, and it's somewhat logical, go ahead. That's fine. I love it.
Yeah.
The rule of cool.
Yeah. Rule of cool.
You can justify it, and anyway.
Role-playing games are an open book for you and your players to make together.
Yeah.
It's not, well, it might be you narrating a story, but I think the best games are the players and the game master working together to make a cohesive story.
Yeah.
You might have have footnotes to follow, but you make the story together, in my mind.
Yeah.
What do you think about the druid turning into
an owlbear?
That makes complete sense to me. An owlbear is so close to being just a beast.
Yeah.
It's like you can't turn into a fairy dragon.
Yeah,
because it's not a beast. It's intelligent, amongst others.
Yeah.
And it's so visually awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to like just a bear. A bear is boring in comparison.
Yeah.
When seen on the silver screen.
But to be fair, a bear can be cool, but it depends on how you do it.
Yeah.
It might, in the movie, it might have been slightly infernal because she is a tiefling.
Yeah.
Which would have also been cool, but an owlbear is cooler.
Yeah.
From the viewer perspective, at least, it's cooler.
Yeah, and just representing D&D in general. It's a good point to have it in there.
Yes. The very classical owlbear.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion on this after, because D&D 1 is now changing the druid class to no longer use a list of beasts or things or like monsters they've seen, to now the druid themselves designs how they look or what the monster they become.
They just have a stat block.
And they have they have 3 stat blocks.
Oh, 3 different stat blocks.
3 different stat blocks, and they can represent them how they want to.
I don't particularly like that.
Why not?
Because if you have the option, like a druid can turn into any beast they have seen. If you give that druid memory loss, they can only turn into the things they have seen from that point on, which is more, I feel at least, for character development or character, you're forcing a player to adapt to what they now have available. If you just have stat blocks, it's like, I turn into the thing I've always turned into.
But the problem for me is that my druids have always turned into the same thing every time. And I'm very poor at like, you see an eagle. It's like, that doesn't feel natural to me. Of course they've seen an eagle. Of course they've seen...
Not necessarily.
No, but it depends on the world, of course. But having to sort of either incorporate it into the story or just behind the scenes talk about it, it's sort of misses the point of a druid, I feel. In that it sort of limits their imagination, it limits their role-playing abilities.
Having the 3 stat blocks?
No, the other one. How it's now.
Oh, yeah, the Senderian. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much the druid players like role-playing. I mean, how much they get into character and how much they spend on the thought of what kind of animal they're turning into. If it's somebody who's not very imaginative, and they go just, okay, I'm gonna turn into this stat block, and can easily just become that.
Yeah, I will agree that having 3 stat blocks is very new player friendly or unimaginable, or not necessarily unimaginative, but if they're not particularly good at improving or improvising a solution to a problem in that moment, that might be preferable. I do agree. But I do like if you have a stat block for climbing, you just use that one and you turn into whatever the hell you want to. But if you have it like it is now, I turn into an owlbear and climb up a wall. It can't climb the wall. You can turn into a squirrel. You have seen a squirrel before. It can't fight, but it can climb. So what you gonna do?
But it does sort of feel like the same thing, except that your defining what creature you have that can climb in a more like personalized way. But I do feel like the way that we are discussing this, it sounds like they have the same advantages and disadvantages. If you're an advanced player who likes role playing, you can use this to design very cool creatures. If you're a new player, you can use the stat blocks and do whatever. And you can say the same for the other way around. You have a list of creatures you can turn into, or you can be creative. But I do feel like the creative part is more lost on how it is now compared to how much you gain from the new system.
I will agree that you can be more creative with the new one, but you can technically be more or very creative with the old one as well. It depends on the GM.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can allow a druid to turn into a bear gorilla hybrid, if they can explain to you why they can do that. In 3.5, D&D Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, there was a subclass which was, I think, Wild Shaper. They could turn parts of their body, even when they were wild shaping, into other parts. Oh. So you could have a bear with dragon wings, potentially.
Oh, nice.
And stuff like that. So you had very, very adaptable forms. And you could not expend a wild shape and just get like bear claws and attack with natural attacks. Or yeah, it was a strange subclass, but it was very RPG friendly, role playing friendly.
Yeah, but that sounds very much like 3.5.
Oh yeah,
giving like this subclass to this like niche idea. Like yes, I can do this very specific thing.
Yes. 3.5, very, very a lot of niches. Not so much generalists in 3.5. In 5e, the current one, very new player friendly. Everyone's a generalist, more or less. You don't really need skill people because everyone can do almost anything now, more or less. At least until later levels where people who are specialized in like stealthing are very good at stealthing. But early game, everyone can kind of do the same things.
Same stuff, yeah.
There's a good way to sort of negate that a little bit is with advantage and disadvantage, if they're trained or not.
Oh, yeah, true.
Because someone who's not trained but has a high skill should still not be good at the thing. Because if you're not trained in picking locks, you're not going to just be able to pick up a pick lock and unpick.
Yeah, but that's kind of like specific things. If you have like, roll nature to remember what this thing is.
Yeah.
They're not trained in it, but they might have heard about it.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really justify disadvantage.
There's a bigger chance if you have the same skill number and one is trained and one is not. The one that's trained would have been reading books, reading up on this, studying, even though they have the same skill level, which means I would say that they get an advantage, even though they have the same number.
I would say that the trained person would get more details, more specifics, while the untrained one would know what the creature is with a nature check, not necessarily know what it's capable of. So that might be the difference for me.
Yeah. I don't remember what the rule says. I think there is a rule about getting advantage if you have a certain level of professionality or something in the skill. I don't remember what it's
that would be very bad.
Yeah, but we're doing the GM discussion a little bit later. Anything else about the movie that you guys find interesting or?
I'm hoping they make another one.
Yeah,
but I did hear there was something planned with what's his name? The big muscular guy who played with Critical Role once. Has been doing a lot of stuff.
Vin Diesel?
No.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean.
Come on, tell me.
God damn, I can't remember.
I'm the one that's bad with names. Come on.
Damn, we're all bad with names.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're planning. I think it was a TV series.
Oh.
Can't remember with which
streaming service.
Some streaming service.
Some, yeah. Or something on the line with, I think it was with Paramount.
What has the big muscular man played in before?
Joe Manganiello.
Yes.
What? Oh, the
From Magic Mike.
what? Isn't that the ice hockey player I'm thinking of?
No.
There-
No, the
of-
American football player, I mean.
I don't know.
Hmm.
No, it's.
Have you found an image of him?
Yeah, I can find it.
Show me. Yeah, that's the. I think it's American football player. He made games and plays a lot of RPGs.
Yeah, he has. He has his whole basement is a.
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Very.
He's a very cool guy.
Yeah.
So he's doing a D&D. Well,
He's having something to do with it.
oh, cool.
From last I heard.
Very nice.
So there's definitely more stuff coming out because this movie was a success.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is more than I can say for the 2001 movie.
It's a good movie. Shut up. No, it's not a good movie. It's very entertaining. It is.
It's a cult classic,
Yeah, it's a cult classic, but
which means it's generally not good.
It's not a good movie. It is entertaining though.
It's a good bad movie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
decidedly. And the follow-up one was even worse.
Okay, so just before we go on to the next part, do anyone of you have anything else out of the ordinary geeky that's happened?
Yeah, you asked me, but we got only to the movie. Krissi,
Yeah.
have you done anything except for the D&D movie? That's nerdy.
Yes. Well, I was playing D&D last week. Big surprise. But this was a good moment for me as it was the first time I finished a campaign
Oh yeah. Yep.
in like
Yay.
me and my players finished the Rime of the Frost Maiden campaign, and we basically finished what material is in the book. So now I'm freehanding it from there on out. So we're still not done playing. We're just about level 10, 11.
So you're continuing in the same world with the same characters,
Yes.
just making your own stories.
Yeah.
That's
Random bullshit. Go.
Yes, and it's gonna be a lot of fun because they did some weird shit, weird time magic shit.
The best kind
Ooh.
of shit.
I went back 1500 years, so I've got a lot
Oh,
of things to play with.
Oh no.
That's cool.
And all of that just to flee a demigod.
Oh no, that's very easily resolved. You move rock. Your parents never were born. Ah, you die.
I watched the movie as well, obviously.
Big
And
job.
But
I
except for
also
that.
watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. Was it watchable?
It was very watchable.
Okay.
It's very fun. Very true to Super Mario
Hmm.
in a fun, entertaining way.
But the voices?
They're not fake Italian accents.
No, I understood that.
Yeah.
But the voices are fine.
Yeah, they're pretty
Okay,
good.
okay.
I like the
Okay.
voices. Yeah.
Jack Black being Bowser, I loved.
That is
I've
awesome. Oh my
only watched clips, and I've
Yeah.
watched the clip of the song he made, which apparently is
Peaches?
yeah,
Peaches.
peaches,
Oh my.
peaches.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
Moving on.
No, it's worth a watch, and I think it's gonna spawn off more Nintendo movies or TV series.
Okay, might be good.
I think they do a lot of good things with the story and characters to sort of make it into a good movie and watchable.
Mm.
Yeah, Bowser is awesome.
Mm.
Based on the production value I saw from clips, I suspected it wouldn't flop.
No.
So
And
But on the topic of movies,
Mhm.
other role-playing game-based movies, I actually managed to watch The Gamers,
yay!
which was
It's a
Way
COD
more-
movie, but it's good.
it was way more entertaining than I thought it would be. That has some great moments.
I actually, after this, I'm going to go home and watch the one you sent me because I keep forgetting to do it.
Yes.
After this, I'm going to go home and watch it.
The strange, like, I don't even know where that came from. The idea to make an Icelandic role-playing game, unofficial D&D movie.
Mm. And the Gamers is also an unofficial D&D
Mhm.
movie.
But I mean, I can't say it was a hit, but there was a lot of most of the actors in there are well-known Icelandic actors.
Cool.
Very strange.
That's interesting.
I've told you now for like a month I need to go watch it, and I just keep forgetting to do it.
Did you just watch the first one?
Gamers?
Gamers?
Yeah, I haven't watched the second one.
No.
The second one is slightly better, more production value.
Yeah, I will guess so.
I've
You don't
also
have to watch
only
it,
watched
though.
the first one, but it's pretty
Oh.
good and it's pretty.
It's very, very typical D&D, at least early when you
Oh,
start
yes.
playing D&D,
It's basically
Yes.
just filming a group of guys
Yeah.
playing D&D and
more or less.
filming their characters in a way.
Yep.
Which, yeah, cool.
But have you guys seen Mazes and Monsters? I think it was called.
No.
Is that a movie?
Yes, that is Tom. I think it was Tom Hanks' first movie from back in
Back in
way back. Mazes and Monsters. Yeah, from '82.
82.
Yes, this movie is a anti D&D propaganda movie from the from the Satanic Panic.
That's pretty cool.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, do check it out because this movie is so ridiculous. And then to think about that, it was like Tom Hanks' debut movie.
I actually got your brother to acquire a TV series, Gallivant.
Never heard.
No, I didn't either until just recently, and I saw just like one or two clips of it, and it feels very D&D. I think it's the main actor meets a unicorn and is like, "Oh, aren't you lovely? Oh, you're beautiful." And the vendor, the one that like wants to sell the unicorn, "Oh yeah, usually not attracted to people. Usually only attracted to virgins." And this man in his 40s with slightly graying beard is like, "I'm not a virgin." Steps to the side.
Oh my god.
And then the second clip, they are in like a doctor's office. I say that very medieval doctor's office.
Oh.
We need the beard hair of a virgin that's no younger than 40. And the same guy is in the room and is like, "Yep, too bad she has to die." I'm looking forward to watching that. That and the Icelandic movie.
Okay, let's head over to the quiz.
Oh, already?
Oh yeah. So I want some buzzers.
I say mine is mimic. And yours will be...
So you.
I will say mimic.
All right, I'll say orc.
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 Cool. Okay, for the first question. Who created D&D?
Mimic.
Åvar?
Gary Gygax, and I don't remember the second name.
Bonus point for the second one.
Yeah, he can probably get it. I was considering Googling it today just so I knew it beforehand, but
Yeah.
I knew you were going to ask this question.
It's such a basic question, but everybody just remembers
Gary Gygax.
yeah.
Because it's a very like easy name to remember. Gary Gygax.
Yeah, but the other guy's name is like stands out as well, but
Yeah, but
you
yeah.
you don't hear it as much.
He is the meme name. Even people who don't play D&D know the name.
Yeah.
His surname is definitely from the Nordics somewhere.
Mm.
You want the name?
Yeah, give it to us.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's Dave Arneson.
It's very Icelandic, Nordic something.
Yeah.
Arneson.
That's 1 point for Åvar.
Yay.
Second question. What is the name of the protagonist in the Dungeons and Dragons movie? And what's the name of the actor for a bonus point?
Mimic. His name is Bard.
Nope.
I don't remember.
Bard Bardson.
Bard Bardison. That's awesome.
Bard the Budge.
No,
You've seen the movie twice, haven't you?
yes.
I have to be honest, I didn't remember either.
This just goes to show how bad I am with names, but I know the actor is Chris Pine, so
Then you'll get 1 point.
You
for
get
the
1
actor's
point
name.
at least. I get nothing.
Half a point.
I did know the actor, of course, but not.
I know the actor. I remember he
Name.
played in like Wonder Woman and stuff, but I don't remember his name.
Star Trek
Yeah.
and a lot of other things.
Star Trek and Star Wars?
No, not Star Wars.
I don't think so.
Rogue One?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, remembered incorrectly then.
Next
played in a lot of
question
things.
is, when was D&D first released?
Orc. 1974.
Correct.
Hey.
It's 2
You're
points
in
for
the lead.
Chrissy. Last question.
Last already?
How many people play D&D? Estimated.
Estimated. Oh God.
Mimic?
Åvar?
2.4 million? I have no idea.
Orc 5.2 million.
I think closest wins.
I'll say no one wins because it's so far off.
Really?
Oh,
It's 50 million estimated.
damn. That's very good though.
And I'll give you 1 point if you can guess which country has the most estimated players.
Orc.
Based on sales and everything.
China?
Mimic?
Go ahead.
America?
You're closest though.
Orc.
Yeah.
Canada?
Canada.
Canada.
Really?
Oh,
Oh.
Canada.
You're both pretty close because I remember
Canada.
China is very close too.
Geologically.
Yeah.
Geologically,
It just doesn't make
geologically
sense.
we're all very close to each other.
Mm.
We're on a planet together.
Anyway, that goes to Krissi with
Yep.
2 points.
No.
Yay!
What do I
orc,
win?
Orc. Honor among thieves.
I'm not a thief.
Ah,
I am.
I am.
So I will be expecting
I'm not
a DVD copy of the movie in the coming months.
Cool.
Mm.
You can expect it as much as you want.
Yeah, if that's how it works, I am owed many prizes.
So let's get on to the theme of the loose theme of the episode, which is GMing.
Yeah. So general experiences, or let's maybe like start with just how much of an experience we guys have. All of us have, because I certainly do not have a lot.
No, you do, because you've played a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah, okay.
The thing about most GMs is that
Condensed.
they rarely get to play even once a month.
Mm.
So experienced GMs are often like, I've been playing for 10 years, like 3 times a year,
Mm.
because we can never find time.
Yeah. For me, actually, I'm starting to speed up now because I have one going every Sunday almost,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
which is very nice. There are a couple of times we can't because holidays.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, I think for me, I GM'd the first time when I was like 17, 18.
Mm.
But it didn't last long because it never does the first time you GM, really, usually. And as well, I was playing with chaotic players who power gamed, and
Yeah.
one was evil. So
And yeah, and for a new GM with that kind of group, it tires you out quite fast.
Yeah.
And that was like I GM'd maybe a couple of times, 3 times, and then didn't again for like a year or 2, I think, and then again. And now it's the most consistent that I've had for many years.
Yeah.
I started, I don't remember how old I was, probably like 14, 15, with the 3.5, and then some Pathfinder.
Was Pathfinder out then?
Pathfinder, I don't remember. when it
Pathfinder came out right after 4th edition came out.
We don't talk
As-
about that edition.
Which edition?
Then you're not like gonna like what I'm gonna say when it's my turn.
Did you start with that?
No, it didn't start
Oh,
with 4th
thank-
edition.
2009.
But Pathfinder came out as the answer to the D&D fans' call. Those who didn't like 4th edition. So Paizo made Pathfinder as a sort of an answer to that.
I like Pathfinder.
Yeah.
It was good.
So I started
Wasn't
with
balanced though.
3.5, learned everything. Then we upgraded to 4th edition with like a box set and everything. And I remember they had these cards that you used for skills, because every skill was basically like, this one you can use every turn, this one is flip, flip, flip. Yeah. And then we upgraded to Pathfinder very shortly after by buying the big books.
Yeah.
And that was like on and off DMing maybe like a few times every year until 2019, 2018. And then I started playing weekly, and I've played weekly ever since until my streaming game stopped playing for a while ago now. And so now I've had my biggest break since 2019, I think. Except for Corona.
The Rona.
We don't count that time as actual time.
No.
I didn't age in that time.
I think everybody just...
I aged. I'm old.
I see that. Oh. And so now I've been playing 5th edition since 2019, around there.
I go way back to, when I was 14, I think I started playing with my like very tight group of friends, or at least like most of those guys that I started with still played like for the next 10 years almost, or at least 8 years, and we jumped from at least a few years of 3.5, and of course we were all in school together, so we managed to play every weekend, but we managed to play 3.5 up until 4th edition came out, and we actually played 4th edition for about 2 or 3 years actually. But we were like a lot more focused on like the role playing aspects. I mean, we weren't really that into the action of it. I mean, combat was more streamlined, and it was over more quick, I felt. So we had more time for everything else. But eventually we stopped playing that, and some of the players broke off. And so it was a slightly smaller group that started playing Exalted. Which is a D10 based system, in the same way as Vampire the Masquerade. But you guys are playing like these, basically demigods in a very Asian inspired world. And we played that for at least 3 years, I think.
Damn.
That went on for a long time. And mind you, all of these games right from the beginning, always my one friend, like the same friend that was the DM the whole time. He didn't really get that many chances to play.
So I do have to say you both have far more experience in the role-playing games than me. I haven't played that much, and I haven't GM'd particularly much until now. Like last year I started again.
I don't have a lot of player experience. To be honest, I've played D&D maybe less than 10 times as a player.
Oh. I started playing around 14, 15, same as you, but didn't GM until I was like 17, I think.
Yeah, I didn't start DMing until 2.5 years ago. And as you say, it's been very consistent since then, just because of the structure of the games here in the Brynjar Rollespill Club. Having the most amazing thing, just having set days or evenings, and especially like at the store, gaming store. Really,
it's a meeting point.
Yeah, it really changes the like
the want.
Everybody plans for it. And people think of it and like keep it there.
Yeah,
it's the same for me on Sundays, because I do it on Sundays because usually people plan things for Fridays and Saturdays, not Sundays. Sunday is a free day.
Yeah,
Sunday is a hangover day.
Yeah, hangover, or just relaxing after having had to help your parents on Saturday, or going to a confirmation on Saturday, or everything, normal stuff, normal weekend stuff. So usually people are very consistent on meeting up on Sundays.
So Krissi picked up my slack. That's how he started DMing here.
Yeah, pretty much.
I couldn't be here for the second time we were going to play, and he just stepped up, took over, DM'd the session, and then kept going.
Yeah, and didn't really stop from there. It's
Very nice.
Now you're stuck.
absolutely stuck.
Yeah, it's
That
not
happens.
a bad thing to be stuck in.
No, not really.
I really prefer being a DM. The few times I've played, I get relatively bored. But that might just be that I haven't played with the groups that challenge me enough in like role playing.
Possibly, or the GM is not trying actively to interact with every player most of the time. It's something I try to focus on in my own game, to like have everyone be like active in the game in some way, even if 3 people are in a combat and one is not. I go, your turn initiative, your turn initiative, your turn initiative. What are you doing? I'm not there. No, but what are you doing? What are you doing wherever the hell you are? Which I feel is important, because you want the players to all be engaged in the game.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any like dead time for too long.
No,
for any one player. And yeah, I kind of feel it now as I started playing as a player finally in another game. I kind of felt that essentially whenever I get that free time when the DM is focused on somebody else, it kind of deadens it for me, because I'm so used to being like
having to think of everything.
In there the whole time. That's kind of the thing about DMing is your head is going the whole time. Even
hyper aware of everything.
Yeah, and even I mean some DMs might think that like when the players start talking amongst themselves, you're still thinking, you're still planning something, and I mean it gives you a little bit of time to plan your next move. But yeah, it's not really a rest, I feel.
No. And it's so interesting because as a DM, while you're having a conversation with this player, if 2 other players are talking, you have to sort of notice that too and hear what they're saying, because it might be relevant. It might be whatever's coming next for you. And if you can get a hint about what's coming next, you're ahead. And that's really important.
One big issue I have with myself in the game I'm running is I ask for like perception checks, you 2. And then I start talking to the other 2, and they probably told it. They're like what they rolled, but I didn't hear it. So I go back, what did you roll?
Yeah.
And I do that all the time, repeating over and over again.
Me too.
You can try to get them used to, like, if I tell you to roll, just keep the roll, and I'll ask you for the number when I'm ready. Because that really helps with that one. Because if you're telling everyone to roll perceptions and you're preparing something, you're not paying attention to what they're saying and when they're saying it. And maybe not even who's saying it, because a person said something. So it's better to just like, okay, roll. What's your number?
Yeah, I started very early doing that with like things like initiatives where everybody's rolling, and then I just told them to just roll it and then shut up, and then I just went the line, just starting with you. What did you get? What did you get?
Yeah, and that's not a problem for them either to just keep the number. They have their number. It's just one number.
I don't know who I saw doing it, but some GMs, they have like small paper stuff that they can. Yeah,
I do that.
Yeah, have it over their GM screen. So it's like, you got a 19 on initiatives, and like you're there. 4, okay, you're there.
Yeah,
last
aligning them up in the initiative order.
Yeah, but for me, I think I want a small printout of their like wisdom saving, initiative pluses, strength score, stuff like that, so I can just have it there, so I know what it is.
Yeah,
if I want it, I don't have to ask them every time.
I have seen some.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, I've seen some other DM. He had like similar to these things that I put on, but he made them with like laminated plastic, so he could use whiteboard markers
Oh, yeah.
on it. So he was writing. So he had the character stats on there as well on his side.
Very cool. I've been for a long time now just using D&D Beyond for basically everything. And it also helps because we're playing on stream, so I can't like have a lot of disturbing elements around.
I don't want to waste time on going into the separate characters.
No, but I'm using the encounter tracker.
Haven't used it.
No, it's very good for tracking combat, and then you can also easily, if you need something extra, go into their characters. But if you're using a laptop, it's very easy to just have some quick cheat sheets as well. But that sort of loses the point of. I also started using that as soon as he showed it to me, and I really like it because they're also hyper aware of when it's their turn.
Yeah, that
That's
really helps the players to know, so they can plan a bit.
Yeah, a thing I used to do
Playing the
is
game.
like I say it's your turn, and then it's your turn next.
No.
Because some people like when it's not your turn, you're just like playing around.
Yeah,
But if you're
very
the next player, you should be ready to do your turn. Otherwise, the next person after is going to have to wait even longer.
That's a very good point. I'll have to do something.
Yeah.
there.
And his system with initiative tracking, when you're moving the piece over, you'll always see, oh, I'm next. You don't even have to say it. You just see that you're next on the turn order.
Usually the people I play with are only on phone, so I don't know if it works there.
On phone?
They're on their phone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Using the D&D Beyond on their phone.
Yeah.
What did you think I meant?
Just using their phone and not paying attention.
Oh, one player does that,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah,
has
that's the one.
he has ADHD. No,
Yeah.
ADD. So
I had one funny one when I played. We used to have a screen behind me because we did it in a meeting room at my job in our office, and we used to use that screen for just like some background images. I used to show the monsters on it. But one time, one of the players came in and he said that today there's a Manchester United match on, so I want to have that on the screen.
no.
And I'm like, okay, so you're watching the game behind me, and that guy's using his phone. Is anyone playing?
There's no point anymore.
No.
Just skip that day.
Yeah. So that's an interesting challenge with players being distracted by
Yeah,
other things.
I am considering for that one player just removing all his electrical devices. You have to leave them in the entryway.
Yeah.
You need to engage with people. Stay here. But the distraction of electronic devices is very easy to fall into now that we have them so accessible. When we were young, my phone was a Nokia 3310, wasn't it? I think. Yeah.
It was all
you
button
could play
phones.
Snake
Yeah, you could play Snake. That's about it.
and ringtones.
Yeah, which I didn't care about.
No.
But yeah, personally, I've always preferred any just paper form of anything. The character sheets, I would rather have the books than use D&D Beyond. I mean, every once in a while, I use it for just to have the monster stats. But if I can, and if I'm that well prepared, I would rather print it out and have it on paper.
For me as well, I'm so old school or whatever. I'm not newfangled like you kids. But no, I prefer having it like physically available to me, so I don't use the app much. But for new players, it's very good to have the D&D Beyond app, because what do I need to do? Just press the plus thing here on perception. Then, I got 17. Yay!
I usually have only 4 objects behind the DM screen. It's my laptop, a notepad and a pencil, and dice.
Oh.
That's all I ever have behind. I never have any printouts or books or anything.
I have one more thing than you do then. I have the books. I have a stack of GM manual, so Game Master manual, 2 monster manuals, I believe, a notebook, my laptop, and dice. Oh, and a mouse, because I prefer the mouse.
I only use the notepad or a notebook if I have an impromptu encounter or something.
I track HP on it.
To track HP, but I use the encounter thing on D&D Beyond.
You'll have to show
all
it
of
to
mine.
me.
But then you have to have it prepared. It takes too long to impromptu just put in monsters.
Oh, then never mind.
Yeah, doesn't work for me.
No, it does not work for me as well.
I'm too wild about that. It's like going through the stuff. Like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, as an example, last session I had, my players fought. They're in a world where they have been turned into squirrels, full-size squirrels. I mean, ordinary-size squirrels.
Oh.
Last session, they fought a normal-sized human. Where is that in the monster manual, I ask you?
Normal size human.
So
The commoner.
gigantic compared to squirrel.
Yeah, just a commoner.
A woodsman.
Yeah.
He chopped down trees. And the squirrels don't
what
like
I usually
that.
do, like if it's planned, I would have made that guy in D&D Beyond.
No.
But I make a lot of these things and plan them, and maybe they happen, maybe they don't. I like making my own monsters, my own items, everything in D&D Beyond, and then just use it there.
I do make some items, but that's usually like afterhand. I just have ideas and then I see if they work.
Yeah.
Which is probably bad, actually, but it does work though.
Yeah.
I improvise a lot.
Worst case scenario, if the item doesn't work, it had hidden properties that make it worse.
Yeah. But for me, I have bad experience from the time I started playing, which is and GMing, which is you can't really plan anything. The way I like to GM is the world is an open book. You can do whatever you want. And I had players, which are my old friends. I mostly don't play with them anymore. Just scheduling issues. And they never follow the plot hooks.
Oh.
Or they ruin the plot hooks.
Right, yeah.
So I can't actually plan anything properly. I can have like larger plot points, maybe, but half of the time it's like, oh, you're not going that way. Oh, well, you can just throw that in the trash.
I've mostly had groups that can really follow a plot and everything like that. I've rarely not had, but I've had sessions where I'm not prepared. I just do everything off the cuff like that. But mostly I like to plan a few encounters and some of the things. I might not play the encounter in 5 or 6 sessions because they're going to the left instead of the right. But eventually, maybe that will happen.
Oh, yeah. I keep it in the back pocket.
Yeah.
The main plan
main plot
stays there. It might come back again. Yeah. Probably not.
I'm interested in how that's gonna work out for me, as I'm now gonna be playing. Yeah, playing by hand.
When are you playing next time?
In 2 weeks.
That long? Damn.
Yeah, I mean we started using the Wednesdays, and next one is gonna be the national.
Oh yeah,
Norwegian National Day. But yeah, because I have a slightly different experience, because up until now I've been playing from a book, which is very handy for me because I have like a good framework of a story, but still I improvise like 50% of what's going on because of course the book doesn't have everything. But use it as a nice skeleton to work out from. But there's also the thing that the players know that. So they respond a bit differently. So like they have it in the back of their mind that it's, I mean, a bit limited, but still they like try and go a little bit further and try it. And of course I don't have most of the time I don't have the option of the left or the right. If I have like, usually they follow what I've planned for them or left open for them. And sometimes it's just I give them the illusion of choice, like this might happen if you go this way, or this might happen if you go that way, but both ways lead to the same place. Yeah,
it's a known secret of GMing. There are 2 doors before you. Which one do you choose? The left one. Okay, it goes to the dwarves. What would have happened if we went to the right one? You don't need to know.
Yeah,
it would have gone to the dwarves.
The only problem comes when they open the right door as well.
No, when they open both.
Yeah.
You make up
first
something.
Go to the left one and then let's just check the right one as well. And I'm like, yeah, mind flayers.
Oh, that's what we
wait,
did that time.
Is that what it was? God damn it.
God damn it.
No,
But we opened the mind flayer door first.
I planned both of those.
Yeah. Fuck mind flayers. Goddamn mind flayers.
That's fun.
But that leads me to one thought. How a bit of a taboo subject maybe, but like how much do you guys fudge
The rolls.
the rolls and stats and
I've been fudging HP to a degree because my players have been nuking things far more than I expected. So it's like it had 100 HP. It now has 200 because it would have died like immediately.
yes, I've had that experience.
Fudging rolls, not so much. There are consequences if they fuck up. If they don't do like very like rule of cool things to save themselves, like the player that essentially tried to suicide from plane, more or less. But we managed to navigate that amicably. He survived and his pet survived.
Yeah.
But fudging rolls, not so much. I fudged some before just to not kill characters. Now it's more like if a character dies, that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fudge rolls a little bit. No, HP, I mean a little bit.
Only a little bit.
Yes.
I usually, it depends on where I am in the campaign and how long I've played with the players. If it's very fresh and they're starting at level 5, 6 or something, I might not have the sort of like feeling of how good they are yet. So I might throw a strong, good monster at them and it's like, oh shit, 2 attacks and it's almost dead and hasn't done its turn yet. I might fudge the HP up a little bit.
Yeah.
But never for a big, huge, dangerous encounter. Then I'll set the HP, and if they ace it, then I'm a bad DM, basically.
They might be.
But then I mean, if it's far into the campaign.
Oh yeah.
But I'll mostly change the stats of every monster I use, just because I often play high fantasy. And so my players are always like doing maybe half the HP of a good monster, even though the book says this is a hard one.
Yeah.
And then, but then I'll change it beforehand.
Yeah. In my campaign, I had to. I didn't fudge it that time, which is why I fudged HPs afterwards. They met a werewolf, and one guy turned into an anaconda and grappled the werewolf, which was trying to run away, but he couldn't because the anaconda was grappling him, so he couldn't move. So they essentially got round after round to just nuking the werewolf as much as they could, but because the werewolf was trying to achieve a goal, it wasn't to kill the players, it was something else. So I just got utterly bum rushed by like 4 or 5 players, I believe it was. Like, okay, he died.
I might also fudge some dice rolls if the encounter is supposed to be like a hard, difficult one, and the monster's not really doing any damage or anything. And it's like the last of a series of encounters, and they're like, this is the last thing before they have a long rest, and it's not dangerous, it's just more interesting if there's at least a little bit of damage.
Yeah. I usually don't have to fetch like or do any more extra damage. I think all the damage I've ever done is more than plenty. Just seems that my players are hitting way too much, and now that I think about it, I might need to check some character sheets. But the rogues in my group,
You've been warned,
which are now 2 rogues, because I killed 1 cleric and his next character turned out to be a rogue. So now I have 2 glass cannons.
Yeah, rogues can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been fetching the health of almost every boss fight, like any big fight or any like anywhere it's supposed to be like a fun or like thrilling encounter. I usually just take it to the point where I feel the players are like like having a lot of fun. At least,
Yeah,
like,
having a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and narratively, it's like very intense or very like, oh, we have to do it now because
Yeah.
because then it's exciting when you actually defeat them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you don't want to do it to just like prolongate the match.
Yeah, no.
That's- that gets boring.
It's to heighten excitement.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Like
It's
if
not
you,
just to have a tank for no reason.
if you meet a big dragon and it's basically dead before the first round is over, that's not fun.
No, not at all.
But it's very standard with 5th edition that the power creep for players is a lot higher than the books planned, because
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like the books ever plan to give a player a +1 or +2 sword at all.
Mm.
Like until
Yeah.
like level 15, then you start getting a little bit of magical items, and it's like, yeah, I
Actu-
like having magic. I like having
Mhm.
items. I like giving my players a cool sword with flames on it.
Actually,
Because
when you
that's
mention
fun.
it, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that until you said it right now.
D&D characters are oddly underpowered in the books for some reason. They didn't used to be that in 3.5.
No, in 3.5, if you had an NPC or something, which is technically kind of a monster, they were fairly powerful,
Yeah.
actually.
And I feel like around level 20, it's not just supposed to be the wish spell. Everything else is also supposed to feel powerful, feel strong. You're supposed to be decked out in everything.
The wizard runs around in archmage robes, and
Yeah.
the barbarian has a belt of the giant strength, etc., etc.
Because in the standard, it's like every stat is limited to 20, which is superhuman, but it's not insane. That's why I always give my players something to raise their stats to.
Yeah.
22, 24, maybe not much above that, but
You reminded me in the couple of sessions I was joined with you as GM, I tried to read a book behind someone's shoulder to increase the stat cap.
because why not?
Why not? They got a book of dexterity, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And my character was standing with his back to that character, but I had a robe of ice, so I could read it behind myself. You're allowed to try, man.
It's awesome.
Let's try.
But no, I think that's what makes D&D fun for me as a DM. It's making these characters feel extra powerful
Yeah.
later in the game. In the start, I want them to feel fragile.
Yeah, make them work for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Make them know that
development.
death could be around the corner every
Hmm.
corner you take.
In 3.5, I remember quite vividly one of the worst things you could throw against a group of players. If they were lower level didn't matter much, but higher level, they had magical items and enchantments and mage armor, and the lich casts anti-magic field. No!
Mhm.
And it's like, oh shit, we gotta run away.
Ruins everything.
Yes.
So, house rules, homebrew, everything around and above and beyond.
Yeah.
Do you do anything in particular?
Homebrew wise, you mean?
Yeah, like, do you have any special house rules? Anything you change vary from the standard?
I have the one where I think it was, I believe it was Dungeons and Daddies. If you have, I allow multiple inspiration points. So if you want to, you can use 2 inspiration points to essentially change the narrative within reason. So if you explain to me why your character does this thing, or the boss trips and falls into the crevasse or whatever, in a way that's not utter bullshit for me and is cool in some way, acceptable. They will be using 2 inspiration points to do it, though.
So
And I don't give them out completely willy-nilly. So
No.
it's like for cool role-playing, or if your character, when you explain something, it's very typical for your character, the way they do it. It's like, inspiration point. I like it.
that means that you as a DM control how often these things can happen and also who can use them.
To a degree.
Yeah, to a degree. But more than like being able to use something more easily accessible. I think it's a good idea.
That's like probably the most house ruley thing I do. Oh yeah, I do one thing which I don't think most GMs do, which is I use percentile dice. So if a character does something and the situation I have a feel this needs to be like a luck thing involved here.
Ah.
Roll percentile dice. I ask them, and I ask a different player to say low or high, which means above 50 or if it's a 25% chance, it's a high or low. Meaning, if they say low, there's a 25, so 0 to 25 chance. If they say high, it's a so the player rolling says their number after high or low, and the result affects what happens in addition to what they want to happen. So if they roll a critical 20, okay, roll me a percentile dice and high or low, and the BBEG might get hit in the head with a hammer and fly out a window because he doesn't die necessarily, and he might fly in back later through another window, but like funny extra little just something happens.
Yeah, so just for the extra flavor.
Yeah, a little bit of extra flavor.
Cool.
Which I like.
Yeah.
Not for everyone.
No. I do the standard bonus action to drink a health potion,
Yes.
which I think everyone should do
yeah.
because using an action.
Yeah,
boring.
for that.
To be fair, I saw a YouTube video of 3 people drinking health potions, essentially this bottle
small
size.
vials, yeah.
The person that did it the fastest did it in 6 seconds.
Oh.
So, but
Yeah.
I would say that a health potion you could theoretically put in your mouth and just chug it back with your teeth or something. So it's like, free action. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But then it
But
also...
bonus action.
Yeah, bonus action.
It still limits you somewhat.
Yeah, but I meant bonus action. I said the wrong thing. But that's also for my villains or NPCs.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
for everything involved in the game.
If the players can do it, the enemies can as well.
Exactly.
And then I also do flanking in not just standing on opposite sides, but I do like advantage. I do +2, I think, to any attack roll instead of advantage.
Oh, instead of the
Instead of
that
advantage, you
limits
get
rogues
+2.
actually.
Yeah.
Very much.
It does.
I had it at just a +1 because one of my rogues, now actually both of the rogues I have in my campaign, both have a thing called pack tactics.
Oh no.
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Oh my god. Yeah.
You have brought this upon yourself.
It's all doomed.
Yeah. 2 goblins then?
No, 1 rat folk and 1 kobold.
Ah, yes. Very cool.
Quite normal.
So yeah, so
Rat folk?
if there's like anybody on their team within range of
Isn't it like 5 or 10 feet?
in melee range with an enemy, the rogue gets advantage against it.
That's just rogue. You go to Happy Town area.
Yeah.
So they honestly getting an advantage on flanking, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They don't even need it.
We're actually doing +3, but it's only if you're not flanked as well. So if you're flanking an enemy and the enemy is not flanking.
But then when you do it like that, you essentially shut off the rogue as it is in the rules.
Yeah, but flanking is an optional rule in and of itself. So the standard rules does not use flanking at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So adding flanking as it is in the rules as an optional rule will make the rogue stronger. Removing it and replacing it with something else will make everyone a little bit stronger, while also giving people a reason to position themselves smartly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually an optional rule that everyone basically uses.
Yeah, my rogue hasn't actually used sneak attack so far, so I'm considering implementing something like that. I have an idea. You have inspired me.
I do remember whilst playing 4th edition that player positions during combat played a huge role, because a lot of the classes, both the fighter and I think a class called the warlord, had quite a lot of moves or like special powers.
This was in 3.5? 4th edition.
4th edition. Where they would be able to move friends or enemies around. It was like pushing an enemy back, shifting a friend towards you or backwards. There was a lot of like movement helps between the allies.
How do you guys handle diagonal movement?
I wing it.
Do you treat it the same or do you alternate?
I think I treat it the same because it is still a 5-foot square. It would be better in a hex. I do realize that, but I have transitioned more and more into theater of the mind for my campaign, so it doesn't really matter anymore. I just make like, yeah, that's far enough. That's fine.
Yeah,
you can move that distance.
Yeah, I pretty much just wing it. I mean, I use a map every time for every combat, but still, if they're moving like that, I go, okay, yeah, you make it.
When I play with a map, I do 5-10, 5-10, 5-10, which is the optional rule in the rule book.
Oh,
but we don't really play with maps anymore. So,
but have you actually taken out a measurer and seen like?
Yeah, it makes sense to do 5-10, 5-10.
Okay. Probably not going to do that.
No, but that would make it equal in distance. Critical fails. Do you do anything in particular for those?
Usually I roll the percentile dice and see if it goes really badly. If it goes really badly, it's probably like you fall down and take damage. If not, then you just fail.
Yeah, you shared something interesting, or was it you? I think it was you on
critical fails.
Yeah. With explaining it somehow in the environment and story.
Oh yeah, I think we both do that actually.
Yeah, I mean,
but I didn't.
Narrating in a good way is of course very fun, but if it only makes sense if there's something in the environment and close around the character who fails. If there's something to play with.
Yeah.
And I have an example of that actually. It happened last Sunday again. They were fighting against the human. One of the players was trying to climb up the human. He was on the ground, but he critical failed. And the human was falling down at that point. So he got squished under the knee.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you take some damage, smack.
Depending on the action, I do two different things. If it's like a story-based action or like climbing, jumping, stuff like that, I'll do something that fits the action.
It was in combat though.
Yeah, something is soapy, slippery or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But in standard combat, if you're just trying to slash at someone or shoot someone, I do that anyone that is within melee range of you can use their reaction to take an attack.
Oh yeah.
If you critically fails and you have someone standing next to you, they can use
an enemy,
reaction.
you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Attack of opportunity, basically.
I believe in 3.5, if you critically failed, you roll the percentile dice and you might hit an ally, I think it was.
Yeah, if they're in range.
Yeah, and I don't think that's even a house rule. It was just in the rules.
I did that for a while as a house rule, but it feels so wrong.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because you can have one player shooting another player and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Not in character, I mean, not player, but player to player.
But I think that stops making sense after like level 6, 7, when they're like supposed to be professional, supposed to be good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't hit your friends.
Yeah.
Yes and no. You release an arrow and your companion jumps in the way accidentally. They didn't realize you were firing an arrow. So it still makes narratively sense in my mind, at least.
Yeah, if it's very rare.
Oh yeah.
Because your friend is also a professional who would know where you are, where you're shooting.
But again, for me, that's where I put in the percentile dice.
Yeah.
So if they fail a critical fail and fail on the percentile dice, that might happen. If not, it's like, I hit him with my sword, critical fail. You didn't fail the percentile dice, so you just lose your sword or something. I don't know. If something else happens, it's like, you hit yourself in the leg and take half damage. Yeah. Something that fits the moment.
Do you have any house rules or something we haven't talked about?
Not many house rules in particular, other than the small flanking bonus.
Do you guys do anything to handle death more interestingly?
What do you mean?
So in D&D, I'd say that death after level, I don't know what it is, 9, 10, gets relatively boring, non-consequential, because unless you don't have anyone with healing abilities or anything, resurrections become relatively easy.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Reviving someone who dies at high levels is just like commonplace.
Ah, I haven't actually gotten to that point in 5e. I mean,
In the lower
Yeah.
levels, of course, it's
it
more
does.
dangerous.
It
and
does
more
require
difficult.
components, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, quite a bit.
but most players will have the components.
It depends on the players, though,
Very-
because
very
I
depends
in-
on the
in
campaign.
in 5e it's like a diamond or gem worth 5,000 gold.
I don't remember the price.
I think it's 1,000 for
Yeah.
like the
the
Revivify.
purple dust or whatever. it is.
Revivify is 300 gold.
Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah,
The next one
it's
above.
It's
yeah.
it's
relative.
way too easy in 5e.
Yeah.
a bit.
So what I've been doing two things. I've been increasing the cost,
Yeah, makes sense.
and I've been doing a resurrection ritual. But that's
Mm.
only if the resurrection takes more than 1 minute. I'll have them sort of sacrifice something or say something personal. It's very role play heavy
Yeah.
thing.
I get it. It's a nice
then-
house rule.
They all have to roll a dice, and I'll give them advantage or disadvantage based on what they do. And I'll also set a DC in my mind. If they beat the DC, they help the resurrection. If they fail, they make
They
it.
hinder.
And when all that's done, I'll have a DC based on that, which is 10 plus minus whatever they do. And I'll roll a die in front of everyone. And if that is higher than the DC, the resurrection succeeds. If it's lower, they die.
Hmm.
And when I do that roll, I've never seen anyone pay so much attention before. Like
Hmm.
everyone who was on their phone, just everything is down. Everyone's just looking at that die,
I need to keep that in mind.
especially in higher levels,
Hmm.
of course.
Yeah, I haven't been that high level yet. I mean, the first character I killed was on level 9. Yes.
Mm.
But that's high enough
And-
to be consequential. You've had that character for a bit.
Yeah, for quite a bit. It was just too bad that the character that was killed was a cleric, and the other cleric of the party was not at the table at the time.
No.
So it ended up with the necromancer getting to the body, and
Spooky, scary skeletons.
almost.
I remember I played with one of your players. I believe you're playing with him still, Lars.
Oh.
And I killed him 3 times during one session. I killed his character, I killed his uncle, and I killed his cousin or something.
That's why you need to
Wow.
watch The Gamers 2, actually.
Okay.
You as well.
And I also killed one of your characters by execution because she gave herself
Oh
up.
yes, yeah.
That was bloody. But that happens. It's all
We-
fun
That
and
happens.
games. Yeah.
But I must gotta confess though that I don't particularly like combat, especially if the combat involves more than one enemy.
Mm.
I mean, boss fights are okay. I mean, they can make them fun with environments and stuff like that. But combat in general, I don't really care for too much.
It takes too much time. But
And
so
brain,
I
brain
do,
power.
yeah, and I do try to make the combats exciting and narratively enjoyable, which makes them a little bit better, but they take a lot of time.
Mm. I think some of the most fun encounters I've had, it's at like level 10 plus, when your monsters start having fun, interesting, dangerous abilities that are just
Yeah.
spanning the entire combat. And they can have just one monster that spawns things that stop them from getting to it.
Like the goddamn mind flayers, you mean?
Nah, they're
Everyone got stunned and could do nothing for like 4 rounds.
not quite like that. I did a custom one that was like the wolf of some players' nightmares.
Mhm.
And they only had one weapon that could actually properly damage it. But they also had to fend off sort of like things that fell off it and just started fighting them.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then at the same time, there was this, like, I don't remember what it was. It was like an AoE ability they had that damaged everyone.
Mm.
Didn't do any like CC effect or anything. It just damaged them.
Yeah.
But getting a light up would stop the damage part a little bit because it was sort of like a shadow monster.
Mm.
So it had like 3 different sort of things that you had to look out for, think about, and plan for. And so all of the players were really interacting and trying to avoid everything while trying to kill it. Which those kind of fights are more fun, I think. And you get more of those as you get to a higher level.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
strong monsters in low levels are usually mages and wizards and stuff like that. And unless you
Usually.
put a lot of creatures around them, they just die.
Yeah.
But
And if you have a powerful later stage, like melee damage dealer in some way, they will usually nuke down one player.
Yeah.
That's about it.
say you have an encounter with a lich, for example. The lich is not able to take a lot of damage. They have a low AC, so they need to have minions, and then you have to fill out more and more enemies just to keep that one alive, because that one's doing the fun stuff. And if the players have hold monster or something, that's the hard thing about low level encounters, is giving them strong enough abilities that don't just kill the players.
I mean, yeah, but then there's always the idea of taking a high level monster and modifying it a bit, like giving it lower AC, just finding something with some fun characteristics, and lowering HP, lowering AC in some way, and make it narratively make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's, of course, I remember something that Matt Colville talked about in one of his videos, which I hate that I'm bringing up 4th edition once again. Or I'm bugging you with it.
Yeah.
But he mentioned that in all of the monster manuals and all the monsters in 4th edition, most of them had like small special features which are like easily transferred over to 5th edition in some way. But at least just to get ideas, like an orc warlord or like a bugbear warlord that like every other turn would be able to call upon like 1d4 minions to like enter into the combat. And then there's another idea that I can't believe I haven't used more, is from 4th edition, the idea of minions. You're basically any skeleton, kobold, goblin, those small, tiny things. Basically, they have their usual stats, but they just haven't 1 HP.
Just one hit and they die.
Yeah.
I've
But you
done
do
those a
have
few
to hit
times.
them.
It makes like you could pop a bunch of them in there, and it gets very satisfying for the players to just chop them down.
It's basically an action soaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
Yes.
can use it as a threat as well. Not necessarily dealing huge amounts of damage, but like a group of 6 skeletons attack you, they get 2 attack rolls to hit you. And if they hit, they deal 1d4 damage or something.
I do often put like very weak monsters along with the big ones, just for that same reason.
Yeah.
Which often just it's a one-shot headshot. You kill them no matter what, almost. Like 11 HP at level 10, 15. It's the same effect, but they might survive.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I want them to survive one big AoE fight or ability. Like if they throw in a fireball, I don't want everything except for the main boss to die.
Yeah.
I want them to have a little bit of HP. Like they might go down with one attack if it's strong enough. Usually like the strongest nukes.
Fireball. They die.
Fireball. Always fire resistant on those minions.
For some reason. The skeletons are fire resistant. What the hell?
Now they're flaming skeletons.
Flaming skeletons.
I did buy 2 books that really helped me. The Tome of Beasts. They're unofficial D&D books with monsters.
Oh, cool.
For 5th edition.
I should maybe check that out.
You can borrow mine. I don't use them actively. I
If
just
they have
use
it in
them for
if they
inspiration.
have it here in Victory Point,
No, they don't have them here.
Oh.
They might get them if you want to. It's from Cobalt Press. They have a lot of good those kind of books, but they're like big tomes of just monsters.
Yeah, but it's nice to have.
Yeah,
For
it's
inspiration.
Very nice to have, and it's very nice to just look up and you see even just the pictures can give you inspiration for a monster you can make.
No, like I was inspired not too long ago. Instead of having like you see a beholder, you know what a beholder looks like. Your players know what a beholder is. They know approximately what they do. Instead of that, you just like you see a man with 4 arms.
Just change
It has the stats of a Giralong, for example.
Yeah.
They don't know that.
I did a mentally unstable crazy beholder
Yeah.
that had just been shut in for way too long, and his abilities were just wanky, and
Yeah.
so that was sort of scaled down to work with a lower level party, because the beholder is usually very intelligent and focuses down and kills people.
Usually, like, if you have an ordinary adventuring party that's not high enough level, they would die to the traps and minions on the way to the beholder.
Yeah.
No.
This one didn't even understand its own sort of like anti-magic field with the eye. So it was just looking at anything that distracted it.
It's like I hit it, and it's like, what?
What? Ooh, you're flying.
And then he fell down.
Yeah. That's always fun.
That's cool. I like that.
I also did one thing with sort of like things like anti-magic fields, that they are possible for high level wizards to sort of do on areas.
Yeah.
So you could sort of fill a basement with
I forgot
magic
this.
field.
In 5e, it's like 10 feet or something.
Yeah, and it's very...
because...
It's like it lasts for a minute or so.
Yeah, because in 3.5, which is the one I remember, you could have it on like a large area. Yeah. You just shut everything off.
So what I do is that you can contact the Wizards Guild, and you can have their high-level wizards come and do this for an area of your house, for example, for like 1,000 gold, and then it lasts for a year, and you can replenish it, that kind of thing. Because that sort of loosens up the magic in the world a little bit, away from it has to be on an item, or it has to be short. Because that's cool like for the players and for low levels, but higher levels, I want anything to be possible with magic. Almost.
I do agree, but I feel it also detracts from the non-casting classes to have everything possible with magic.
It does, but that also...
To a degree, but they can also benefit from it.
Yeah.
It's like, I hire the wizard's tower to make my barbarian buddy large size for a year.
Yeah.
Maybe. That was
one...
just like out of pocket right now, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah. I had one with cursed amulets, and they couldn't get them off. They didn't have the spells or anything, and so they contacted someone who sent out the word to the high-end wizards, and one of them came riding into town to remove it for a price.
Oh, actually, in 3.5 there was a separate spell called Permanence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I missed that in 5e actually, because you could have like, theoretically, if you wanted to, you could have mage armor just be on always. You didn't need to expend another spell slot to have it. You just had it.
Yeah,
but I think you lost.
Very expensive one.
Yeah, it was very expensive, I believe, which was essentially you parentheses permanently enchanted an item or a person or whatever to do something forever. But if you cast an anti-magic field or whatever, something similar on that area or person or whatever, it would just end for all eternity. They would have to recast it and pay the cost again. And it wasn't like a magical item that just turns off and then on again when you leave the era.
No,
you just lost.
Just off.
Yeah, it was off forever.
You can think of it like this.
Which I really liked.
D&D has schools of magic, which are very well defined at the same time as not defined at all. Because the magic that players can do have a school. Magic items don't have a school. Most things don't really have a school that they fit into properly. But like for a magical sword, say a flaming sword, someone would have to enchant that somehow. How is that done in D&D?
That's where I actually in my own game already have done something along the lines you're thinking of. They found like a mummified head, and one of the players cast Detect Magic. They didn't have it identify, but they cast Detect Magic, and he asked what schools are involved in the item.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of dark energy, necromancy, a little bit of enchantment, enhancement, so like modifying of the ordinary object. So he might guess towards what the item might do.
Yeah, I guess.
But it doesn't identify it, because that's a specific thing.
I never add schools of magic to anything I make, just because don't really care. But I can describe sort of the same way you talk about. But I do like thinking in the way that you can do anything with magical items, and you don't have to put it into a box of a school or anything. And that's a problem I often have if someone identifies and it says you get to know the school of the magic item. Doesn't
And
really have one.
I feel Identify is in 5e a far too powerful spell.
Yeah.
As it's written. You just know what it is.
One thing I read to sort of negate that effect is to have a spell that sort of hides things from that spell specifically.
Oh.
An enchantment or a spell that you can put on things like a weapon.
A cursed item.
Yeah, to make it unidentifiable or partly identifiable.
I mean, isn't that one thing of cursed items that the cursed nature of it does not come up during Identify?
I don't know, but
I think that is the thing.
Yeah.
But the reason, and the secondary reason why I do it my way with the schools is so it's like slightly necromantic, and it's like, oh, it's cursed. Not necessarily.
No, exactly.
It might just be ray of enfeeblement.
I mean, Spare the Dying is a necromancy spell.
Yeah. So it's like, do what you want with that information.
That spell also, by the way, works on detect magic, where you can make things undetectable. But a dispel magic would remove the hidden part. So it's very nice to use on traps, on things you don't want people to see, but also make it like rule legal or not overly powerful. We have yet again come to the end of an episode. It's been the D&D episode, or the role-playing episode, or the Game Master.
More or less D&D episode. We can discuss another TTRPG another time.
Yeah, we're strongest in D&D at the moment.
We could probably muster up some experience for Vampire the Masquerade, or...
Yeah. Would be more like a review episode or something.
Yeah, we can do alternate role-playing games another time.
Anyway, if you enjoy what we're doing, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, please hit the notification bell below to be alerted every time we upload a new video. Thank you all for listening and have a magical day. Bye, nerds.
Bye, my little gremlins.
Goodbye.